Okay, I'm going to speak to you about breeding resilient livestock for a changing environment. So resilience, if you look, what is the definition of resilience? It's the ability to recover from or adjust to change, also to survive no matter what. And I'm going to talk to you about how to recognize and select resilient cattle. This picture shows to me the difference between animals that are resilient or not. These are two heifers. They both calved. It's the end of summer, and you can see the one has a very low body condition score, and the right one could handle the environment better, and the one with the low body condition score is probably not going to survive. So what happened here? What would make it that one animal would survive and another one not? First, we have to look at the energy cycle of the beef cow, and you will see that this is now from one calf to the next, and here the cow has calved, and then in the first 3 months after calving, there's a huge demand in energy, and she would, which is due to recovery, the recovery process from the birth. If she's still in her first lactation, her first calf, or sometimes her second calf, she's still growing. She has a calf that suckles on her, and if you want an ICP of 365 days, you want her to get pregnant then again. So there's a huge demand on this cow in the first 3 months, and many times it leads to a negative energy balance. This negative energy balance is caused mainly by the grass quality. So basically the environment, it can be a good environment, then it would shift up. If it's a harsh environment, it would shift down. And to other factors, as I said, the age of the cow, if she's still a heifer, she's still growing, that would make that negative energy balance worse. And things like the season in which she calves. So the grass quantity and quality will influence that. Once she has weaned her calf, the energy nutrients demand drops a lot, and then as her pregnancy advances, the energy requirements move again. And usually you would require the ability of this heifer or cow to lay down body reserves in this stage where there's a lot of energy, so that she could progress to the next lactation. So the energy that she has available is basically through feed intake, and if her demands on energy is too high, she can mobilize fat. So body reserves, mainly fat, and so it's good for a cow to do have fat reserves that she can mobilize. In some instances, she might also mobilize her muscle tissue, which is generally not a good idea. So this is the energy that she has available. If she goes into that negative energy balance, what is the priority of energy use? The main part where this energy goes is into maintenance, which is in short her vital functions, and that's to keep the cow alive. And that's the biggest energy drain on her. Second is growth. And this is especially bad for heifers calving the first time or the second time sometimes, because she's growing and that drains energy from the system. The third priority is lactation. That's looking after her current calf. So you can see after that only comes reproduction. So her ability to become pregnant again and have an ICP of 365 days. So many times this just doesn't happen. There's just not enough energy in the system for her to become pregnant again, and the becoming pregnant is postponed. You can also see if it's a first-time heifer, she has this energy drain, and so she would much easier go into postponing the next pregnancy and have a longer ICP if there's not enough energy in the system. If it's a mature cow that's not growing, naturally she doesn't have that drain, and it's much easier for her to have a shorter ICP. And you would many, many times see an older cow, she has a short ICP. The older she becomes, the shorter the ICP becomes, because she doesn't have that drain which the heifers have. And as she has weaned her calf, and there's still available energy, she builds body reserves, which can then be used in when she has the next calf, and there's a negative energy balance again. So that's basically the priorities that is there, and it's like it is. So, but then you can ask the question, do animals differ genetically? And the best one that illustrates this is if you look at dairy cows. They have been very, very strongly selected for milk production. So that energy path is highly selected from the available energy. And because of high milk production, you of course get an increase in the maintenance component as well. So it's basically a high input, high output system. These animals need very, very specialized diets with high nutrients to be able to lactate. So you can see if the environment is correct and suitable, she will be able to produce a lot of milk. If you put her in a wrong environment, you don't give her enough food or water for that matter, she won't be able to reach her genetic potential. So the environment has a huge effect, which you can illustrate very nicely with dairy cows. Here's an example of beef cattle as well. These photographs were taken in a phase C test where you measure the intake of a bull and you see how much energy he uses for production, so how does he grow. But here you can see here's breed differences as well. This animal is genetically wired for high growth. He's much higher on his legs and he's much longer as well as that one. So his genetic drive is for growth. And if you put him in the wrong environment, he's going to grow because his genetics say that. But if there's not enough energy in the system, something's got to give. So you need to put your animal in an environment that's genetically suitable for him, or the other way around, you have this environment. Look for genetics which is suitable for that environment, and you will get a more resilient animal. So this maintenance part, as I said, we test in the phase C growth test intake. These bulls eat this amount of food and put on this amount of weight. And you can see there's genetic differences between animals, which is caused by all these pathways inside the animal. So the gross energy that it eats, how much of it is left for production. So the definition of maintenance, the amount of energy intake that will result in no loss or gain of body weight, and what is it influenced by. So these graphs come from the nutrient requirement tables by the University of Arkansas, and you can see the effect of mature weight on energy demand or nutrient demand. So this is a 500 kilogram cow. So there's the high energy peak just after calving, and that graph that I showed you just now. But for a 635 kilogram cow, it's higher. She needs more nutrients. So a heavier cow generally needs a better environment than a lighter cow. Milk also increases maintenance. So here's a 500 kilogram cow with a 5 kilogram peak milk versus one with 11 kilogram peak milk. So if your beef cows have high milk, they need a higher, a better environment in order to produce that milk. That is why in our maintenance selection value, we also add a little bit of milk together with mature weight. So for genetic resilience, you need to select animals that are adapted to a specific environment. That will give you the best results. So for example, if you have a good environment and you don't need to go and feed animals or whatever, you can select for maximum production because the environment is there and the environment can carry that maximum production. If you are in a harsh environment, you'd rather select for adapted animals that will produce despite the environment. Okay, but practically seen, here's a lot of animals. How do I know which one will be the better one? So, in essence, you have a cow, and what you expect from her is quality calves and quantity. If you look at the quality, there's a measure called cow efficiency. Will she wean a heavy calf relative to her own weight? That would be an efficient cow. If she's a heavy cow and she gives you a very light calf, that's not efficient. There's a lot of energy wasting. So all in all, you always want to, despite the environment, even if it's a harsh environment, you want that cow to produce as good a calf as she can relative to her own weight. And then, of course, you don't want to just one calf and then you have to throw her out and start with another heifer. You want a cow to be able to do this year after year and give you quantity calves, which is basically the fertility value with the breeding values. So environment is also important. If you have an average environment, which most of you have, an average South African farm, you have a mixture of good years and droughts. Some years are better than others. And your primary goal would be to each cow produce a calf every year, which you can sell or keep or whatever. And what will do best there is, based on the genetic breeding value indices, is an animal with indices between 90 and 110. That would mean it's an average cow with an average calf at birth and weaning, regarding weight, and in the better years, the one with more growth will do better. In the drought years, the one with less growth might do better. So you have a mixture there, and you can do whatever the environment asks of you. If you want to go to extremes, so say you have a very good environment, year after year, good grass, good climate, and then because you're never going to have to feed, buy feed or whatever, you can select for heavy weaners. So a heavy weaner, but still not too much cow weight, but still an efficient cow, but it will be a heavy calf. But please remember, a heavy calf will come from a heavy cow. So the body mass of the cow will be bigger, but that's fine as long as you're in a good environment and the cow and the calf is heavy as well. If you're in a harsh environment, you can't just select for heavy weaners, then you're not doing the best you can. There you are selecting for a low-maintenance cow. You're selecting on the cow. You want the cow to survive year after year. She must be adapted to the environment. And usually that is a lighter cow because her maintenance is lower and the environment has a lower requirement. So you will select for a lighter cow with a light calf at birth and weaning. So in the beef cattle breeding, we have what we call a cow value, which is a combination of different breeding values in which you can then select the animal that fits your environment best. So the cow value is combined of fertility traits, fertility breeding values, as well as a positive effect on calf growth and milk, because that will give you a heavy weaner. But we want the cow relative to the calf weight, so you want a negative pressure on maintenance and on the birth of the calf, the birth weight of the calf, in order to get the cow-calf efficiency value. So just a few practical examples. If you have an average environment, all your selection values is between 90 and 110. That's where more or less 50% of the animals are, and it's relatively easy to select for. So here we have our cow value, in this example 110, which shows you whether these other is in balance. So remember, between 90 and 110 is an average animal, and you can see the calving ease, the calf growth, the milk, the maintenance, and the fertility is all between 90 and 110. This is an animal suitable for an average environment. If you want to go to extremes, say you have a very good environment and you want high growth, then you look at the calf growth value. Once again, you see the cow value is 110. It's the same as there, but this is a different type of animal than that, because it's got high calf growth. The weaner is going to be heavy. Note that the maintenance is also high, which then gives you a value of 80. And the calf is heavier at birth, but that's fine because you have high calf growth, you have a heavier cow at weaning. The cow, the dam is heavier, and the calf is heavier at birth as well. And then in an extreme harsh environment, you are looking for a lighter cow which can handle the environment, and so you look at the maintenance. This cow will have a low maintenance, a favorable maintenance, but her calf is average, and but that's the main one that you look at. So the cow value, you always look for the highest cow value. It's not that the high cow values are good for a good environment and the poor cow values for a harsh environment. You always look at the cow value because it's the balance between the other breeding values, and select for that. We did bring it back to the phenotypes. We looked at a popular breed and looked at the difference in the phenotypes between the below average animals, which is a cow value below 90, in comparison to the above average cow value animals. That's ones with an index above 110. Remember, this is now over all environments. So the difference was the above average cows weighed 4 kilograms more than the below average cows, but they weaned on average 17 kilograms more. So the calves weighed more in the above average animals than the below average. And if we looked at the 210 born cows, so 213 born cows, so it's more or less 10 years old. And this above average group had 1.3, not kilogram calves, 1.3 cows more than the below average ones. And if you take that, it's about 540 Rand more per weaner. And because you have 1.3 calves more, it's 11,000 Rand more per cow. And even if you just have 10 above average cows, cow value cows, that will give you quite a nice income. So in summary, select resilient animals that fit into your environment. The cow value can be used to select resilient animals and select the best animal for your specific goals and for your environment. Thank you.